right, so let's talk about Kevin Levrone's comeback number 2. And I want to preface it by I definitely not trying to be negative in this video because like millions of people, like Kevin's an icon. He's like an idol to me. So my thoughts about his comeback at the Arnold Australia. Yeah, I was surprised about the final look. Just like I'm sure hundreds of thousands of other people, we did anticipate a much more improved look, at least 30 to 40, 50% better than 2016. You know, everyone was saying, hey, give Kevin like a full year or year and a half and you'll have the Maryland Muscle Machine, you know, a little bit less than full blown, but still pretty blown up. And he's had the last, 12, 15 months or whatever to improve. So my outlook on it, I was a little, I guess you could say, perplexed, because Kevin is not a dumb person and he has a lot of experience, and I would imagine he would be assessing himself every day, a couple days a week, at least once a week, mirror, progress pics, people he truly trusts from back in the day. I know he trained with that one dude, Kevin, who was a personal trainer at his gym back in Maryland. This is like 17 years ago. Someone back in the day that really knows Kevin whenever Kevin's on, to be up front with him. And I would imagine Kevin would be able to look at pictures and look at his legs and look at the skin texture and the conditioning and the detail and the separation and the fullness and the roundness and all that stuff, or lack thereof, in pictures and progress, and know in his heart, hey, what I'm looking at, these pictures, it's staring right at me. I know the truth. I know what I used to look like. I know what I was capable of, and this isn't really it. That he would still go through with competing on the pro stage at such a high level with, a really high caliber class at the Arnold Australia. What I thought or think maybe, or what I would have done, or thought he should have done, is maybe say, listen guys, I want to come in bigger and fuller and improve my legs, but I'm not going to compete. I'm going to guest pose. But I'm going to guest pose to have fun for my fans, but to not be in unhealthy dehydration contest state, to not risk anything extreme. But I want to come in bigger, a little softer than the Olympia in 2016, but I want to show you that I improved my legs and I'm rounder and I'm fuller, and I want to give my fans a sick-ass posing routine to Stained or Creed or Shinedown or whatever rock band that we all like to see him pose to. And that's that. But for him to, I guess could be stubborn, a man of his word, and hell, I'm going to compete, I'm going to do it. But I would think he would see himself and assess himself, unless he was literally so tunnel vision, and I've done this before in like old preps, where I was so like tired and just kind of insecure that I stay cover up to even myself. I would even pose, I would even look at myself before I showered in the mirror naked. I just kind of showed up, and it was what it was, which is silly. And I don't think he did that. I would think he would be going off more than what he sees in the cutoff and the gym lighting. I would assume he would see himself naked or in posing trunks throughout this process. Because Kevin's smart, he's not, some of the things he said on Instagram, like, oh, I didn't pull water. Kevin knows leanness and knows fat cells need to be completely depleted and shrunk and dug out, and there's, over the trunks with a little bit of overhang in the lower back and this and stuff. He has to know that, it's not just a water thing. He needed to get obviously more peeled and more conditioned as far as scraping out the body fat. Certain things like that. This little comments he made on Instagram. I just know that he knows better. And he's a stickler for conditioning, and he always mentions that. So it's just perplexing to me. I don't know the process. Here's the thing, guys. Back in the day, Kevin is so gifted that he was one of the few that could take a hiatus after the freaking contest, not just like a Ronnie hiatus, which Ronnie would probably eat a bunch of food, come off hormones, and still maintain a lot of size because he ate a lot and still did, I think, normal bodybuilding things as far as the meal structure. But Kevin would barely eat. He would shrink down in body weight significantly. Ronnie would just add body fat and add water and still be 300 pounds, but softer when he came off 2 or 3 months post-show. Kevin would completely shrink, and then he would blow up and explode. He would do his tours with his band and do whatever the hell he wanted, like a rock star. And I think he was so used to that, his genetic response back then being in his mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, shit just happened. And like I mentioned in one of my posts, Kevin was such an anomaly, an enigma. He was literally a puzzle because he would come each year with a different look. Because he would always do that decondition and then grow into the show. And each time was a different outcome. He was kind of rolling the dice, but it was still worked. It was still top 5, top 4, top 3, top 2. Even though, you know, a year his legs will be down, next year his legs are up. Other year his arms and shoulders a little fuller, a little bit more cap, a little down. It was just variant each time with him, but his body was resilient and could pull that off back then. Maybe back then too he was more had better access to the Smith family. If you watched his Maryland Muscle Machine, they cooked all his food. He went over there. They had meals 1 through 8: flounder, asparagus, flounder, green beans, red meat meal, brown rice. They did all that for him. I don't know if he had that luxury this year, last couple of years, as far as his meal prep, you know, the quality of food, you know, little things like that do matter. Even the Olympia battle for Olympia, either was it 97 or 96, he would go to a restaurant. He worked out a deal. He was so pampered that they had meals, I think 1 through 5 at this restaurant with plain fish and vegetables, and he'd go there every 5 times a day. He had it made. Maybe this last couple of years, we don't know behind the scenes what exactly occurred for us, the nutrition protocol, hormones. You would assume Kevin would find a hormone connection. Obviously, it's not like back in the 90s where you were getting things from France pharmacy and this and imported here and, you know, better quality stuff. Nonetheless, Kevin Levrone is going to find good quality stuff, so I don't really question that aspect. The training looked hardcore. The training was spot on, so you can't say it was a lack of resistance overload and mechanical tension on the muscle and all that stuff. It just might be that Kevin, you know, I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm making this video. These are just my thoughts out loud, and it's in no way trying to like belittle Kevin or anything. Like I said, he's freaking awesome. But I don't know. I just think that I would have maybe just guest posed and just say what it was and be like, I don't want to be unhealthy and risk my health at 53 to pull water, take diuretics, and maybe he pulled back during the prep and knew he wasn't lean enough, which I think he did know that, and didn't want to have to go crazy because maybe he knew the legs would come down to get lean as he needed to be in body fat. The legs that were kind of improved would be right back to 2016 with a bigger upper body, and it would look even more out of proportion. I don't know. But you also got to remember, if you really analyze Kevin back in the day, like I said, he's a roller coaster throughout the years. Even 2002, whenever it was, you know, second place to Ronnie, he was like 245 pounds. Ronnie was down in weight that year. Kevin's legs that year, by the teardrop and the lateralis, was a little bit more narrow and tight in. It wasn't as billowing and full. Even then, his legs were a little bit down, and his back. But he's so good polished with his presentation that he still pulled off a second place. Whereas 96, 97, he was rounder and fuller in the legs. But some of the times he placed second, he actually had more slight, slender legs. Then you remember 2003, guys. The last competition he before he retired, he tore his tricep or lat or something like 7 weeks out. Competed at that Olympia, still pulled off a 6th place, but legs were completely down in size then, and just overall not as round and full. So I mean, we saw a glimpse of a digressing Kevin towards the end of his career while he was still a lot younger too. So it's just one of those things. It was like a magical dream come true. We all wanted to see, you know, that crazy, most muscular with his shaved bald head in 97 with the silver trunks that's crazy on everyone's, you know, wallpaper or whatever. But, you know, much love to Kevin Levrone. Like I said, he's an idol icon, a historian or a historic bodybuilder that'll go down as a Hall of Famer, which he already is, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, if it was me, I would have just maybe guest posed and just, you know, been really upfront and not really subject myself to standing next to a William Boniak and, you know, Dexter Jackson, all those guys from Rolly. And yeah, so anyway, that's my outlook or overview on Kevin Levrone 2018. He's the man, though. I mean, look at him. Looks better than fucking I'll ever look at now. Looks better than 99.9 of everyone else, you know, that bodybuilds that's not like elite genetics. So you can't hate on him. You just got to question kind of the mindset of going into this high-level show.